Maybe. So we can see.
We feel like we're flying blind here. There we are.
Oh, we are on. Look at that. I'm sitting here fixing my hair, just looking at everything. Sorry. Hi, guys.
Chicago Now, where we go through all the trending local and national topics here.
Yes.
In real time, as they kind of take the internet by storm. We got a lot to get to here in the next 51 minutes. Caitlin, I know we established last week you're not the most superstitious person.
I've heard of this, though.
You've heard of the doll?
The Annabelle, the most haunted doll or item on Earth, right?
Yeah, I had not heard of Annabelle before today, but there's a rumor around.
Raggedy Ann doll.
Yeah, creepy.
Creepy Raggedy Ann.
Doll, and took the internet by storm that it went missing and ended up right here in Chicago.
Ooh. Oh, I didn't hear that part.
Yes.
I thought she was going on a tour.
Exactly. If you felt a disturbance in the force, it could be Annabelle. We're also going to be checking in with our new friend of the show, Matt Laricy. He did such a good job painting a picture of the real estate landscape for us a couple weeks back. We're going to check back in with him as the real estate, the housing market gets into high gear as we kick off the summer. We have some local spelling heroes that are about to represent Chicagoland.
Are we going to have our own
Scripps
spelling bee
National,
too?
I don't know. That'd be
between
interesting.
the two of us.
How was your spelling as a kid?
I mean, I didn't get a trophy, that's for sure. What about you?
I mean, I was solid, but by no means a savant or anything like that. I mean, I got most stuff right. But.
Yeah, okay. And we're also going to be talking about major icks because I had one. And it's going to make me sound kind of like a mean person, I feel like. At the end of the show, you got to stay tuned. So I had an ick that happened over the weekend. Things that make your skin crawl, whether they happen or they don't happen. I have a list of probably 7 or 8.
I can't wait for that.
I
think I can only think of 2 offhand, but Caitlin, your list is very intriguing. But let's start off by running folks through what happened with Annabelle.
Okay.
Run us through the cliff notes here, Caitlin.
Okay.
What's going on with Annabelle?
So a TikTok video from a paranormal investigator with the New England Society for Psychic Research confirmed that she's safely locked in her case at the Warrens Occult Museum in Connecticut. But the confusion started after people noticed Annabelle was missing from an exhibit stop during the Devils on the Run tour. So it looks like she was on tour.
Do we have a visual on Annabelle?
So Annabelle the doll is missing. This is the real Raggedy Ann doll that was inspired by the scary films Annabelle. And the Warrens warned us about this. They literally said it was going to happen. There's a quote from Lorraine that literally says that they should never try to move her because she's so evil she would find a way to escape. And well, what happens? They decide to take her on tour and Annabelle was like, yup, bye-bye. Bye-bye. There has been stories of people that have not listened to this sign. It says positively do not touch and have literally like that day gone home and gotten in a car accident. Or other people like took a photo of her and then they also were found. So she's no joke at all, like at all. The Warrens even blame her for some sickness that happened to them as well. So how y'all lose this doll?
Okay, so they took this doll on a tour. So it's called the Devils on the Run tour. It's a traveling paranormal exhibit that features the infamous Annabelle doll and other haunted artifacts with stops at historically spooky locations. They should do this during Halloween.
Have you ever had I mean, it begs the question, Caitlin, have you ever had a paranormal experience?
You know, when I was growing up, supposedly, my family members had in our house because my mom's grandparents both died in that house. They built the house, they lived there, they died in it.
Both of your mom's parents?
Grandparents.
Oh, both of her grandparents. Okay.
Yeah. But also her dad died young. Not
but
in
like,
that
did
house,
something
but
okay, that's
yeah,
not
so
paranormal
I think seeing them, sights of the said grandparents in the house. My dad even. He said, yeah, one day he was sitting and watching TV and he saw at the corner of his eye something. He looked and saw like, I think it was her grandpa walked from like the kitchen into the room and sat down in a chair. My brother had weird ones too with them. I know, not for me. But outside of that, no. I talked about the story the other day about the music playing at 2 a.m. and I thought that was paranormal, but it turns out I think it was just my dog.
Yeah.
What about you?
I've had a couple minor, well, one of them didn't seem so minor at the time. We were down in Mexico in an old Spanish colonial town, staying in a house. It was like an Airbnb. The house was built in the 1700s, and
Juicy.
we were, in the first night we got there, was my whole family and all of our significant others at the time. We were sitting in the dining room, and we all heard what sounded like a really heavy wooden chair being dragged across a porcelain floor. So everyone in the dinner just like stopped. And then what kind of scared me the most is like my dad speaks fluent Spanish. My dad looks around and he basically said in Spanish to the room, "We are not here to harm you. We are just here on vacation," like, you know, and when he started speaking Spanish or whatever made the noise.
Yeah.
So that was one thing. And then later in the week at that same house, this is the last night, we were all drinking margaritas, having like chips and guac. The last night
Delicious,
It
yes.
was awesome. You know, everyone, but my sister wasn't in the room, and she was in the TV room of this house, which used to be the chapel of the house.
The chapel of the house.
Yeah,
They
there
had
was a
little,
chapel.
Yes,
yeah,
sure.
little chapel.
Uh-huh.
This is, I'm telling you, this is an old 1700s like courtyard. It was a cool, really awesome old house. We're enjoying our margaritas and guacamole. She comes running in from that TV room, just scared. She's like, oh my gosh, the lights just flickered on and off and the TV went off. And so she shows up, and we were all, okay, all right, I get whatever you say, Maria.
Yeah.
Next morning, the cleaning crew shows up
Okay.
to basically close up the house because we were leaving back to Chicago. We told the two housekeepers what had happened in the chapel the night before to my sister, and the two housekeepers who had been looking after the house for years go, oh yeah, that was a chapel back in the day. That stuff always happens in that room.
Okay.
So
Did you
those
write a
are my
review
two.
on the?
This was before, you know.
It wasn't an Airbnb.
Yeah, it must not. It was like a VRB. This was before it was like a.
Yeah, sure. It was
in
more
the
of a
process. Yeah, my
Yeah.
parents had booked the place. It was in a town called San Miguel de Allende. It's a really old town in Mexico, really cool place. But those are my two. So
Yeah,
I'm
I
not
don't
putting
like
it
that
past
stuff.
Annabelle.
So Annabelle, I wish I knew the history of Annabelle. I remember looking it up one time. I forget how I ran across the story because she looks so innocent, you know, this little doll. But then you hear about how, well, you saw in that clip, things have happened to people who have touched, which maybe people become, you know, a little bit paranoid afterwards, or they get nervous,
Oh,
and
sure.
then something happens.
And then your eyes are out, and then something, yeah.
So she went missing, and then they found her again. So that was the first thing, right? She's back in her Warren's museum spot, Jenna. So
She's
she's
going
back.
on tour, though. And if you want to go, I'm going to go say pay your respects
Ooh.
to Annabelle. She will be at the Rock Island, Illinois Museum event on October 4th.
That's okay, so it's closer to Halloween. Like that
Closer to
fall
Halloween.
vibes, you know? Not for me. Anyways, so let's talk about Texas.
Oh, yeah. If we have people commenting,
Oh.
I know this is simulcasting on our YouTube page, but if you want to write in the comments any paranormal experiences that you all have had, I would be very curious to read these. These never get old to me. I like
And
hearing
maybe if
people's-
it's juicy enough, Jenna can read it out loud. Yeah, she's going to keep an eye out. Okay, so let's talk about Texas. A man in Texas created what he calls the world's first video smart mailbox. So Richard Prince II from North Texas says he created a secure key access mailbox designed to stop porch pirates from stealing packages. I wonder if we could pull up a picture of it. The product was showcased at the Consumer Electronics Show in Las Vegas. So it's a smart mailbox that securely stores packages inside of a lockbox and video-equipped compartment designed to deter porch pirates by using federal mailbox protections instead of relying solely on home cameras.
Okay, so there it is. It looks like a chimney. No, it looks
Cute.
like a big stone column. So what would be the process here? The delivery person has a code of some kind. Your Amazon delivery or your USPS person. And it looks very secure. Okay, and then around back.
Looks like it's a little house for your packages.
The bluebirds would love to set up shop in your yard there.
Or a bee
I like
nest,
it.
right?
I really like it. I'm always so. This is just like the ultimate like exercise in trust, because around my neighborhood there's packages all the time.
Yeah.
In front of folks' house, and I know that like when there's an economic downturn,
Yeah.
porch piracy,
Or during
there's a spike.
Christmas.
Yeah, during the Christmas season.
So one time this year during Christmas, I was working an early morning shift, and so I got up and left at around 2 a.m. And shortly after that, I got a text from our neighborhood little gals text group, and my next door neighbor had someone steal a package off her porch at around 1:30. So about 30 minutes before I had left. But the funny thing is, it was a box full of dirty diapers because she had just had a baby. So joke's on you, guy. It turns out.
So she did that as like a.
Not even on purpose, I don't think.
But
I know.
who has boxes of dirty diapers?
I don't
did she
know.
do that? Because I know that people have set up porch pirates.
Yeah.
Like, hey, you think you're gonna steal this, but guess
Dog
what?
poop in there.
I filled it up with poop.
Turns out, like, they tossed it out the door, like, up the street. I guess one of the other neighbors saw, like, at the local Ace hardware store that there was a box of, they saw the box and the dirty diapers. They got, unfortunately.
So this is
unfortunately.
a different kind of deterrent. I am glad, because we've done, this is an 8-year patent process that it happened. That's wild that it takes 8 years to get a patent on something like this. But we have reported on different prototypes for a similar thing, because porch pirates are so common these days.
Yeah.
That I'm glad there's one that's now hitting the market. 58 million packages stolen. That's a lot.
That's sad.
It is.
And a lot of times they're not like big, expensive, important items. Like we were saying before, like your multi-surface cleaner could be in that box from Target. It's not like you're not.
You got some toiletries. Man.
Sure, toilet paper.
One time, and I don't know if you've ever ordered anything. I've only recently ever ordered anything really expensive one time, and that was a laptop. I ordered like a new Apple MacBook.
Okay.
And it was, but I was checking the tracking.
Yeah, sure.
Every, I knew the range, and like when 2 to 4 on Thursday. When that window hit, I was hitting refresh, and then I was calling back to my house. Hey, can you pick up something that's on the back porch right now? So like when I know that I have something really expensive and valuable on the way, then I will engage.
That makes sense. Or you get to ask for a signature.
Right.
Require a signature when they deliver it, I guess, like with furniture and stuff.
Because I think you're right. Other than that, a lot of stuff that ends up
like, what are you purchasing?
Yeah, it's like literally like, here, you get some laundry detergent and some paper
napkins
towels
for my birthday party. It's not worth it. That's not worth it.
No.
And especially everybody has these Ring cameras these days. You're gonna get
that's another
caught.
thing. We gotta get ourselves one of those.
Yeah.
I shouldn't talk about that on the air. All right, here's something cool.
Okay.
4 local middle school students are about to do something pretty cool, Caitlin. They are among 243 spellers that are going to be competing in the Scripps National Spelling Bee.
Ooh, and they're all ladies. Look at these little
Oh my
girls.
gosh! All
Hey.
young ladies.
I love that. So the bee is taking place this week in Maryland, and the preliminary round started this morning at 7. And the finals will be Thursday from 7 to 9 p.m. Central. This is kind of late, right? Finals 7 to 9.
Hey.
It's past my bedtime.
Yeah,
These girls, I'm so proud. So how old are they? Does it say? This is a spelling bee. What grade are they in?
Are they
8
middle
spellers.
schoolers?
I'm not sure, but this is it brings together the top young spellers from across the country to complete this
We
tradition.
have 4, and that makes Illinois the 4th most
I'm gonna look it up.
represented state. So that's super cool. I always love reporting this on Good Day Chicago, Caitlin, because we always get to see the final 2.
Yeah.
And then the words that they use in the finals of this competition. These kids, sometimes they've never even heard or seen the word, but they know because they've studied linguistics. Okay, use it in a sentence. What's the origin of the word? And they can use processes of deductive reasoning to actually land on the correct spelling, even if they've never used the word. Just phonetically and knowing the history of the word itself, they're able to actually construct the word in real time. So it's super cool.
I'd also like to give kudos to their parents because goodness gracious, they must be so proud. Okay, I got the ages for you. So they're 13 years old.
Ah, okay, yeah, so middle school age.
Middle school. So we've got Francis Granger Middle School, Jones Middle School, St. Andrews Lutheran School, and Skinner North Classical School.
Okay.
I'm so proud of you girls. I know Anthony mentioned how we have them on sometimes on the show, and I
Yeah.
can't help but get nervous for them because sometimes, when they come on, it's the shtick to have them try to spell something crazy.
Right.
And they get it every time.
They get
Without
it
fail,
every
they get it every time.
time.
Can I tell you a funny story about spelling?
Go for it. We're getting the wrap, so you gotta
I'll say
expedite
it
it.
quick. We went to an engagement party. We were just talking about this over the weekend because Grady had put up a number 6 for Birdie's party. And his sister was like, that's backwards. You got to turn it around. Anyways, so we talked about how we went to our friend's engagement party years ago, and they had a cake that said congratulations on it. And the wife-to-be, the bride-to-be was like, well, it's a cute cake, but they spelled it with a T. So they spelled it wrong. And everybody just started.
Congratulations wrong.
Well, they put a T in it, and so we all started laughing because
there is a
T
in
but that's the whole joke. She was like, "Oh, but they spelled the name wrong, or the word wrong on this cake," and we were all like, "No."
That's a very common misspelled word. In fact, that is the most commonly misspelled word in one United State. And if we have time at the end of the show,
what?
We have
true?
Yeah, exactly.
Okay.
We have a list.
Wow.
I peeked ahead. Sorry, Caitlin. I peeked ahead. We're going to go through the most commonly misspelled words by state.
Oh, I love that. Cool.
That
all right.
Actually, that word right there made the list.
Congratulations.
Okay, before we get to that, coming up after this break, we are going to check back in with our very good friend Matt Laricy for an update on how the Chicago real estate market is doing as we kick in to the summer months. Stay with us.
Welcome back. It is 10:27. So we're talking Chicago real estate. Summer tends to be peak season for real estate, and in a city as dynamic as Chicago, that can mean shifting trends and who's moving, where they're headed, and why. So to break down what's happening this year in the local housing market, from rising interest rates to hot neighborhoods, we're joined by Chicago real estate agent Matt Laricy. Good morning, Matt. Thanks for joining us.
Welcome back to the show, Matt.
Thanks for having me on again, guys. I appreciate it.
Okay, so last time, I remember my big takeaway when we checked in with you a few weeks ago. You were talking about the advantages and how hot it is for buyers right here in the city. I remember we talking about the River North neighborhood, some really good deals to actually be had. How is it starting off? We always talk about Memorial Day weekend as the unofficial kickoff to summer. Are you seeing an uptick? Give us an idea of the landscape right now as we cruise into the month of June.
Memorial Day, in my opinion, is the unofficial kickoff of what I call the summer shift. Okay, so you mentioned that summer was the hottest time maybe of the year for the market. Technically speaking, what we see in Chicago is the hottest months are the spring months, which would be pretty much like mid-February till the mid-May-ish mark. And after Memorial Day, we see the market start to shift to be a little bit slower because Chicago's tied to these rental cycles. And with most people's leases come due end of March, April, May, first part of June, we start seeing that buyer demand start to slip a little bit. And you have this misconception that summer is the hotter time to sell. So all of a sudden you lose almost 50% of buyers. And at the same time, you see 50% more sellers enter the market because a lot of people are like, well, hey, you know, the grass is green now, it's sun shining, kids are going to be out of school, place shows great, let's get it on the market. And you start seeing that the demand starts slowing down. You start noticing prices kind of soften up a little bit. I tell a lot of my clients that, hey, if you're sick of getting outbid in the springtime, just wait till the first week of summer and you'll start getting a little bit of a better deal.
Interesting. Okay, so who's moving to Chicago right now? Is it families, young single professionals, retirees?
Mostly right now, you're going to start seeing people who are getting job relocations. This is a big one we're seeing right now. People getting relocated for the summer seasons. We're also starting to see a lot of families will start at this time, right? Because now the kids are out of school. It's easier for them to kind of start figuring out like where they're going to be. Because some people, especially if you're in the city markets, you're wondering what school did your kid get into. So like they start understanding that dynamic a little bit more. And a big one that we like to see at this time of year, which makes up a big market of the city markets, what I call the tourist buyers, right? So tourist buyers are big. Those are buyers from out of state, like Ohio, Iowa, Minnesota, Michigan, stuff like that, where people who want like an in-town place for themselves. And we also see a lot of movement from the empty nesters in the summer markets.
Okay, you mentioned there's a 50% drop or so in the availability of buyers. Do you find that sellers are ever pulling their places off the market to, I don't know, not get owned in that way? Or is volume, in terms of what's available out there, is that remaining pretty consistent?
You always have more inventory in the summer than you do in the spring, always. And it always puts a lot of pressure on us because like I always get people who are like, hey, there's my neighbor sold in one day in February and we've been on for 3 weeks. Like, why are we not selling? I'm like, well, in February you got like 50 people bidding on the place and today you don't have any. Because you have to remember, like real estate, it's a back of the napkin math, right? The two biggest end of lease dates of the year in Chicago is April and May. So if your lease comes up in April and May, you're not buying in April and May. You're not buying in June because you've already decided to buy rent. You're buying in January, February, first part of March. And that's when inventory is the leanest. So you do start to see more and more options come on the market and then they start sticking for longer. And that's why inventory starts to build because things don't sell as fast. Whereas in February and March, everything sells in a day or two. So there's no inventory sticking. So when new ones come on, they're the only options. But now inventory starts to come on and it sticks. So it sits for longer and you notice market time will start to go up. And you'll start to notice that prices will start to come down a little bit more in summer.
That is so interesting because you would think, yeah, summer's a great time to sell your place. The kids are out of school, like you mentioned before, but you got to get ahead of the game and think about people are going to be moving in the spring, thinking about school ending, and then obviously you mentioned all these leases that are ending. So what is the big
hold
driver?
on that point too, though.
Yes.
Think about this. What do you do in the summer? That's what I tell people as well.
Having fun.
Like how many times are you in town this weekend, right? And then people who have kids, it's like you got sports, you got this. So it's like, again, it's like, people always ask me, like, I always tell people we have more showings on weekdays than we do on weekends in the summer.
Yes.
Because bachelor party, bachelorette season, wedding season, kids got tournaments out of town. So like, there's just a lot of stuff going on and people don't realize how much that affects the marketplace.
Whoa.
We just had I feel like it was a soundbite from President Trump this past week. He was angry that interest rates were not going to come down. What is going on? Paint a picture for interest rates and where they've been going the last few weeks and kind of their impact as we kick off the summer.
Well, I mean, the bond market really drove them up this past week, and that's obviously a financial question for a financial expert to, really walk through the landscape. But from all indications of the financial markets with what's happening, we probably aren't going to see interest rates drop. If anything, we'll probably see them go up a little bit with what's going on in the markets unless the bond market starts to drop. The interest rates are tied to the 10-year yields. And right now, the 10-year yield spiked above 5 for the first time in a long time. Now they've dropped. So, but like, I would say the interest rates as a whole, I'm not getting many people who are saying like, I'm not going to buy because of the interest rates. In fact, I think the interest rates spiking and then kind of coming back down a little bit has people more understanding that like they're not going to drop back down to 2 or 3%. Like it's just not going to happen. Whereas like last year and the year before that, we kept having people be like, well, I'm just going to wait for the interest rates to drop. And like, we're going to be waiting for a very long time because they're not coming down. I like to tell people that the interest rates of 2 to 3% is like when your parents told you that they had like an 18 or 19% rate. Like it's just not happening.
Back in the
don't
late
say
70s,
that.
my
Come
parents used
on.
to say that too. When they bought their first place in like the early 80s, I couldn't even believe it.
Yeah,
Think about the
but
monthly
there's
payment.
so many other things that came into play,
know.
because I've heard
I
that too. Anything under 10% is good. Yeah, but everything is expensive these days. Houses are more expensive. What is the big driver for people to Chicago and away from Chicago right now? And where are our hot spots? Where are the hot neighborhoods that people are coming to?
So the biggest thing that's pushing people out of Chicago is probably taxes and some businesses, you know, and just some political stuff. Like some people just don't like what's been going on in the city as a whole. But I mean, and I know you guys also published an article that Chicago gained some of the most people that we had. And, you know, I like to say, I don't have any proven data behind why people are moving back, but this is just my conspiracy theory on this, is that like, we're creatures of habit, right? So a lot of people left the state because they're like, I'm sick of the crime or the politics. So I'm going to go to Florida or Utah or one of these places. And then they're in Utah and Sundays you can't drink. We're Chicagoans, so we like to drink. They're like, I'm going to come back to the city, right? Or there's like these hurricanes going on in Florida. Like, I kind of agree with them with like what they got going on, but it's kind of not my cup of tea. I don't want to have to like leave and like flee my place because like it's going to get hit. And so we're seeing a lot of people kind of come back who moved away to try something new out and then realize that it's really not for them, and they like the walkability of the city. They like that we actually have a lot of stuff going on. You know, Chicago's a phenomenal city. I think it's got the best skyline in the country, and I think people kind of miss that when they go to these like kind of small rural areas. They think that's going to kind of give them that drop, kind of give them what they've been kind of like think they've been seeking, but really haven't. And you know, when you look at like the hot spots, the hottest spots right now are tree line neighborhoody streets. That's the trend right now. Everybody kind of wants this like more outdoor space. Something's got a like green area, you know, something that gives me a little bit more room where I can have like a desk because I'm WFHing more. So that's kind of been what's been like the trend with that as well.
Got it. What about
WFHing.
Yeah, exactly. WFHing. We had to do a lot of that during the pandemic. Although, did you ever do like a Zoom interview, like a Zoom setup from your actual house?
Just the green screen.
Just the green screen.
In the house.
She was doing her weather forecast from a green screen in her
WFHing
house.
from my basement.
Yeah.
That's funny.
Matt, how about hot? You mentioned like leafy neighborhoods, but are any suburbs of Chicago particularly hot right now?
I mean, like you got areas like Naperville, Hinsdale. Naperville's been like really hot lately. Like, I mean, it's been getting a lot of press.
They just
and I think
became
that's
the third biggest city in the state.
Yeah. I mean, you're seeing people like honestly, like I would have to say is that like minus just the Naperville one alone, because that's been like the hot buzz one, is that like I would say any suburb that's outside of the city that has a good school, right? So they have a high school rating that's within like a 30 to 45 minute commute to the city. You could literally pick anyone like north, south, west, whatever. Like people are going to these, and it's been one of the reasons why the suburb markets are so hot right now is the fact that a lot of people are working from home more often, and like it's easier for them with the kids, and they want to be able to be like, you know, somewhat close to the city for the 2 or 3 days a week that they're going into the office. And I think that's one of the reasons why the suburbs are outperforming the city for some of the first times in history by so much.
How's that Northwest Indiana market? Are people headed out that way?
We are seeing a lot more people move to Indiana. It's been specifically tax-based from every client that I've talked to over it. And the fact that you could travel to the city very quick, but you don't have to pay like as much taxes on it.
I like that.
All right, Matt Laricy, please check back in with us. Why don't we do a check-in like midsummer or something like that? Because this is really great info.
You can check in with me anytime, guys. I'm happy to help on anything I can.
Have a
Real
great
estate
day.
magnate Matt Laricy joining us this morning. Friend of the show.
Thanks, guys.
Thank you so much. All right, we're going to be back with, we've all heard of dibs.
In
right?
winter.
In the winter,
Sure.
we talk about tree-lined streets.
Yeah.
We're going to get to some other trending topics here in Chicago. Dibs in May?
How do you do that?
We will talk about that when we come back. Okay, we are all familiar here in Chicago, the idea of dibs during the winter months.
Not
For
those
anyone-
ice cream
For
treats.
anyone who is brand new to the city or / has been living under a rock, this is when you shovel out that parking spot after a 12-inch snowfall. Is that yours to keep after that? And are you allowed to put a folding chair or some kind of plywood configuration to hold that spot? Well, this always divides the city, but here, this week, we have somebody
A May
who
dibs.
called dibs during the month of May.
Yeah.
Okay. Caitlin, I want to get a judge's ruling. Looks like we're there in the bungalow belt. I don't know what neighborhood this is, but I see a bunch of bungalows back there. Somebody has blocked the street. Judge, can we get a ruling here, Caitlin?
If you pay for that spot, you can save it. If you don't, then absolutely not. What are your thoughts?
I'm with you. I'm with you. I think it's I think that's an infraction right there. Now, I'm going to give the benefit of the doubt, though, in this particular situation.
Okay.
Even though I think, generally speaking, that's an infraction. I'm wondering if this was just a timing thing, where that person had to move some big object, like a couch or a mattress, and was very, very temporarily holding that spot.
I don't think so.
No.
Because then you'd send a person out there, you know? If it's really that big of a deal, like, I'm going to stand here and wait for you to back this truck up.
Yeah.
Isn't it legally okay in the wintertime? I'm trying to remember the stories that we've done in the past.
Caitlin, that's super fair question because
Yeah.
no, it's not legal.
Okay.
And Streets and Sand does need to get in front of the podium every once in a while before the media and say this is technically not allowed. But here's the thing, and this is very Chicago: they don't when it's snowed a lot, they will not enforce it per se. You will not get think about how would you do that? What homeowner on the block? So they tell you not to do it.
Everybody
and it
does
is technically illegal. Everybody does it, and it doesn't get enforced.
That is hilarious.
Yes, very, very Chicago thing. And actually, now that 4th of July is coming up, another kind of distinctly Chicago thing that I personally love, even though go at your own risk, have you heard about these rogue fireworks shows that happen?
Don't like those.
Oh my gosh, sorry, I love these. I mean, don't bring your 3-year-old, don't bring your family, but Caitlin, neighborhood parks, the fire department tends to look the other way, but like these spontaneous, on July 3rd, you will see throughout the city of Chicago just all
Fireworks
kinds
everywhere.
Everywhere, and
Can't
they
say.
don't enforce it.
Last summer, they were setting off fireworks on Michigan Avenue.
No.
That is not okay.
No, that's not. That's too. I'm talking about like spacious,
in a
big,
good-hearted
open,
way,
yes,
family fun way. But you could just cross over in Indiana. I believe it's legal.
Oh, it's a free for all over there.
It
Crazy
is. And talk
Kaplans
about crazy.
with a K.
Yeah.
Crazy.
Oh yeah, crazy Kaplans. Fireworks shows everywhere. The neighborhoods will set them off.
Oh, yeah.
Insane
yeah.
fireworks shows. But as a mom of young children, drives me bonkers.
No, I know.
I hate it. Let's have like a 9:30 p.m. cutoff, please.
Oh my gosh. And then I'm sure we'll get into this later in the summer, but the impact on the pooches.
Oh,
Dogs
yeah,
are
you gotta
so
give them those.
miserable during those.
Yeah, the medication and all the things.
right.
And also, they're very dangerous. You
Okay,
could
well,
shoot
I'm
your eye
going to
out.
side with Caitlin on this. I'm going to give that a no.
Okay.
I agree with you that if the only situation I think that would be okay is, hey, I got a couch that I'm bringing down the stairwell right now. And I
My
need
wife
a spot.
just gave birth,
Yeah,
and we're taking
exactly.
the baby home, and this is where we need to be.
Short
Absolutely.
of that, but you're right that there should probably be a human being out there if
Yeah.
it's going to be that temporary.
Sorry,
so ixnay on the May
da-da.
dibs, guys.
Yeah.
All right, it is
Okay.
also concert season here in Chicago. Now that the weather is warm, what is the best concert you have attended in Chicago?
What
do
do
you
you
have an
think?
immediate answer on this?
I've never
have
been to a
mine.
concert in Chicago.
You've never been to a concert in Chicago?
And I started having babies and just don't get out anymore.
Well, once your kids are a little more grown, you gotta reignite. I know you're in Northwest Indiana.
Yeah.
Mine for sure has been. Oh gosh, now I'm questioning. I was gonna say Billy Joel. I saw Billy Joel and Elton John at Wrigley Field.
Whoa, what an
I'm
experience
more
that
of a-
would be.
I'm more of an Elton John fan than Billy Joel fan, but I'm telling you, at this show, Billy was the one who brought it.
Okay.
I mean, Elton phoned it in. He was he just didn't seem into it.
Oh.
I was like, Billy though, he rocked it. They were on tour together, so I would say
Fun.
that was my favorite show that I went to. Actually, we're talking about this. We had a top 5 today involving our top 5 Billy Joel songs because he was just diagnosed with like a rare, I think, brain condition of some kind.
Oh no.
I don't think we reported the actual medical details of it, but prayers up for Billy Joel.
Huh.
Another great one I saw at the Riviera in Uptown was Hosier.
Oh yes, that would
And
be
it was
great.
A small show.
Oh, I bet they were so
good.
good.
Amazing.
So
voice.
talented.
I was just
hits you in the feels.
Oh my gosh, absolutely. Like I was just sitting there. I was just standing there, not far from probably 15 people back, and just didn't go get drinks. You know what I'm saying? I was just enthralled. And
wow.
He's got the most amazing voice, I think.
We did actually go to a concert. I take that back.
Okay.
It was years ago. It was at the Chicago Theater. It was the Avett Brothers. They're my favorite band.
The Avett Brothers?
The Avett Brothers
Wait,
came
what's
to
their
town.
what's their big hit? I'm not cool.
Probably No Hard Feelings is one of their more famous ones. They had a special made by, what is his name? I'll have to think about it. He's married to that really cute blonde actress. This is so random. And this
that
is 40.
Doesn't really narrow it down.
This is
Caitlin.
40. You know the actress?
Oh yeah, yes,
her
I
husband,
do know her.
Judd Apatow.
Yes,
There we go. We
okay.
brought it full circle.
Right.
He made a documentary movie about the Avett Brothers.
Oh, okay.
And during that time, they had a tour, and they came to Chicago.
Chicago
and we made
Theater.
It.
I mean,
It was
amazing venue.
It was great. It was great.
Chime in. I don't know if we can check in on our YouTube comments at some point. Anyway, concert season. There is who's coming? Oh yeah, The Weeknd is coming to Soldier Field.
Fun.
And there are still tickets available for as low as $65 right now.
Okay, that's
He has
doable.
not sold out Soldier Field. I love The Weeknd, and with just Weeknd KND, and I would expect that those tickets on the resale market would go even lower.
You
if
think?
If there's still a lot available like that day, because I think he's playing Friday and Saturday, so keep an eye
This
out
weekend.
for that. This weekend.
Okay.
Exactly. So if you want to make some
Get
last
on
minute
it, you
plans, go to
guys.
Soldier Field.
Fun.
All right, I'm excited for what's coming up after the break. Caitlin is about to unveil one of the things that gives her the
The ick. It's many
The ick.
things,
So it's not
actually.
the
I have a
icks,
list.
It's the ick.
It's the
I'm
ick.
learning what all the
Things
cool
that
kids
make
are
your
saying.
skin crawl.
All right, we're going to run through
Kind of
those.
controversial.
Yes, we're going to run through those when we come back after this.
What's your biggest ick?
Okay, so it might be a bit rogue, but when a boy gets hit by like a slow-moving car.
So what we're talking about is the ick, And typically it comes when you're talking about a significant other, something that makes you feel icky that they do.
Oh.
But this is icks just in life in general.
Men getting cold.
Yes. Yes.
Very unmanly.
Yes, exactly. Or maybe, let's see what's next. Oh, eating food before you buy it, like in the grocery store.
Okay.
Okay, so the reason why this is coming up is because we hosted a party, you know, the Birdie's party over the weekend.
Yes,
and
the bounce house.
So during this particular instance, I knew that people would be wearing their shoes inside the house because people are coming and going. There's a lot of people. I get it. But when I tell you, it bothered me to the point where later I was even looking at pictures from the party and I saw all these people with shoes on walking in my house, and I had to mop immediately, and the water was black. It drove me nuts. And so the funny thing is, I was talking to Sylvia Perez, the very own Sylvia Perez, yesterday about it. And I was like, Sylvia, it was a great party, but I got to tell you, these shoes in the house thing, it really gets me, especially when it's on the carpeting. And she goes, oh, I wear my shoes in my house. And I was like, you do what?
I do too.
You do what?
I do too.
So I am flabbergasted by this, and I think it's a really hot topic because in my experience, when you go to somebody's house, you assume that you take your shoes off. You can look and see if they're wearing their shoes and then ask, but if you just full blown open the door and go for it with your shoes on, that's crossing a line.
You think that's audacious?
I do.
Yeah.
But you know what? Family members do it a lot at our house. And so I just let it go and then wash it later. I think part of it is too that we have a baby that's putting hands all over these floors and then right into the mouth.
And that's how they build up their immunity.
It's
Rub
so
a little
gross.
dirt in there.
And yesterday I was talking to Sylvia about it. You guys, you're walking in the bathrooms. You're walking down the street of Chicago that might have some animal poop on the ground, maybe some vomit. I don't know. And then it's on your shoes and you're just I can see the bottom of your shoes right now. You're going in the house. Now listen, I will say my kids.
They're not so bad.
But there is ickies. There's ickies. My kids wear their shoes in the house sometimes too. And I'm like, you guys, take your shoes off. So that was my main ick, but I've got a list, Anthony.
Oh, I've got a little list. Let's hear
I've got
more.
a list.
So
Okay.
I'm way more lax in this category for the viewers at home.
Yeah.
We try. We don't always do well.
Maggie tries.
I would love for us to have a proper mudroom to de-shoe, but we don't.
Yes.
So people walk in. There's a mat. Sometimes they take them off. Others don't. But I respect it. I don't think that's many people's default.
And
to
I
go
disagree.
no shoes.
I think it's
in
at
the house.
least 85% shoes off in houses. I think we got to do a survey about this.
I know that'd be a great Reddit survey. Is what's your default when you're a guest at someone's house? Because you were saying at a party, you don't necessarily expect if it's a big cocktail party or something.
That's what Sylvia was saying. She's like, if I'm wearing my heels, I don't want to take my shoes off.
Exactly. But if you have just
one family
if
coming.
Theo has a friend over, yes, we do ask his friend. You know what I'm saying?
You do?
Yeah, we do. We definitely do. But
Because
when it's
imagine
a party,
these kids
we just don't.
running up the stairs
Tracking
and running
stuff
into
in.
the bedroom, jumping on the kids' beds with their shoes on. That's crazy.
All right.
Okay, so let's
what
go
else
through
is
my
giving
list.
you the ick?
So in this list, I'm talking about a scenario where it's the end of the world. No, not that extreme. You don't have these items for whatever reason. You're stranded on an island, and you're like, ooh, that's really going to make me uncomfortable.
Okay, to not have these items.
Okay, so my list. Number one. Now, this is going to sound silly, but it's just one of those things where, if it doesn't happen, my day is not going right. So coffee in the morning with water. I need both. Liquids in the morning, I need a full thing of water, a full thing of coffee every single day.
Yeah, I'm with you.
When you go to the beach, you get sand on your feet. Sand on your feet makes me feel so icky
Oh my gosh.
when I leave.
I just thought of one.
Okay.
Sand in the bed.
Sand in the bed.
sheets.
Crumbs
You feel
in your
that
bed.
You feel that those little itchy grains.
Yes. You
and
just
you're
feel
like,
so
oh
dirty.
My gosh. Oh.
I
On
know.
vacation, if you're on a
Yes.
beach vacation and you get in and somebody.
Yep.
Yeah,
See, there's one.
that's one.
Okay, another one. Now this is a funny one too. Every time I wash my face, I have to put lotion on my face, or else it feels really dry, and it will drive me crazy. When I forget lotion, if I come here because I work out, wash my face, I'll put the most floral hand lotion on my
just
face
so you have
because I
something.
need
Yeah,
lotion.
yeah.
I need it. Okay, chapped lips. If I don't have chapstick,
It's the worst.
is that it'll drive you crazy?
Like I do a pocket check every time I get up, and it's 4 things. It's the keys, the wallet, the phone, and the
chapstick.
stick of chapstick.
See,
I
you
have
need the
to have it,
chapstick.
too.
If you don't
Yeah.
have it, your day's thrown
Yeah.
off. Okay, right now I've got these crazy fake nails, but when my nails aren't fake, any chipping of the nails, or if they're like too long and one starts to break, ooh, that will drive me
Okay,
bonkers
okay.
too. Okay, I did the shoes thing. Brushing teeth, and this is not even because you're supposed to, but brushing teeth morning and before bed. Deodorant, leave the house without deodorant, day ruined.
Yeah.
And I think that's about it. That pretty much wraps up. What was your
I
ick
only
before
have
we
one
go?
to add to that. I mean, I love that list. I mean, the sand in the bed reminded me of, I don't know if this is the ick, but when mosquitoes, if you're camping or something, and you get that, they somehow find the warmest thing they can, and it's always
Yeah, I don't like
So
that.
I hate that. And this goes for way too many gentlemen out there. Way too many gentlemen.
Uh-oh.
You're in a public bathroom. You're using the restroom. You're washing your hands after you leave, and the people around you are not.
Okay. And you're judging them. Does that happen
Oh
here
my
at
gosh,
work?
I'm definitely
Do
judging
people
them.
here that we work with not wash their hands? Now that's juicy goss there. I gotta know.
I know
gotta know.
that I am not alone on this. Gentlemen, wash your hands.
I have
after you
heard guys
use
say in the
the
past
public
it's not
bathroom.
dirty.
And then you grab a paper towel, and that's how you use the paper
Open the
towel as
door.
a glove to open the door. You open the door, you leave, and then you throw away the paper towel. That is how it is done, and that is my work.
Should we put a sign on the door? We'll print one out and stick it on the door
Let me
downstairs.
ask you this. You asked me if it's a pervasive problem in the men's room. Is that a problem in the women's room?
No.
Do you ever notice women not washing
Never.
their hands?
We always wash our hands.
Thank goodness.
Yeah, we're
More
not as
civilized
gross. That's what I
gender.
mean. The shoes thing. It's probably Maggie. That's like,
You
Anthony,
guys are
take
the-
your shoes off.
yeah.
And I'll tell Grady, he's walking in, bringing in the groceries. I'm like, all right. But then once the groceries are in, dude, take your shoes off.
The fairer sex.
What are we doing?
I'm glad you guys are washing your hands. All right, we're back to wrap this up. After we come back, the most misspelled word in the state of Illinois.
All right, you guys, we're talking about the most misspelled words in Illinois. It is